Hello and welcome to my channel Wisdom. In today's video, we will go through a poem from Standard 10th English textbook, Unit 1.1, where the mind is without fear. This isn't just a poem, but rather a form of prayer written during the times when India was struggling for freedom. This poem was written by none other than Rabindranath Tagore. He is a well-known public figure born in the year 1861 in Kolkata. He was a poet, writer, philosopher, musician and artist who reshaped Bengali literature and music. He became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1913 for his collection in the Gitanjali. Rabindranath Tagore wrote India's national anthem, the Jana Gana Mana, and was deeply involved in education and social reform, promoting ideas of freedom, humanism, and universal harmony. His works often reflect a deep love for nature, a strong sense of spirituality, and a vision of a free and enlightened society. The ideas that are beautifully expressed in his famous poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear. Now let us first start reading the entire poem, and then I will go ahead explaining to you every line of the poem. So let's start. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Written by Rabindranath Tagore. The first and second line of the poem, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. Here the poet is addressing to us about a place that is perfect to live and to develop. See now, there are three characteristics in these lines. The first, a mind without fear. The second, head is held high. And the third is that knowledge is free. From the above, the first two characteristics are a quality that is attached to a human. It is a human quality. And the last one is attributed to a place. The human quality of being fearless and the head held high comes from being a confident person. Now the question that arises is that from where do we get knowledge? Knowledge comes from a place of learning, example from a school, college or any educational institution. Today, we are very lucky to enjoy the knowledge we are receiving from our educational institutions. We get qualified, we receive a degree through which one day we start earning our income and we can stand on our feet and express our thoughts and words, not being dependent on others. But all this was not so during the times when the poet lived, that is, in the pre-independence period. Knowledge at that time was not free, but it was available only for a few elite group of people. A mind that was free and raised up with dignity was only available for the few. But the poet wants this freedom and better life for all the people of his country, where everyone can learn and grow. Line 3 and 4 of the poem. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Here the poet wants unity for the people living in his country. You know that India is a nation with diverse cultures, and unity within the country is a necessity. But this society has various social barriers. Now specifically, the poet is addressing to us about the barriers not in terms of region, but the barriers in the mind regarding caste, class and religion. That is why he mentions about the narrow domestic walls. Lines 5 and 6 of the poem, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. In these lines, the poet wants this new and perfect world to be longing for truth. Words coming from one's mouth should have no deceit, that is, having truth as its essence. In the other line, the poet presents an idea that every hard work must always pay off and reach its perfection. That is, it must bring the results we are working for. Line 7 and 8, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into dreary desert sand of dead habit. Here the poet refers to a possibility that anyone can fall into when they begin to tread on the path of reason, but ultimately give up because of a dead habit like a meaningless behavior or a superstition. The poet rather wants the stream of reason to flow and break through, to venture into a new transforming habit that will not quench, but it will allow reason to flow freely. Lines 9, 10 and 11, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. In these final lines of the poem, the poet is saying a quiet prayer for the people of his country. He wants the mind of all people to be led by the Almighty God. Be it through thought or action, it all must be guided by God. So this perfect world that the poet is speaking about in the above lines, he is calling it as a heaven of freedom. And thus he prays to God, asking to let his country awake into this heaven. This was all about the poem. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe.